we're going to delve on a journey. You and me. We're going to go on a pilgrimage through Garfield. The Alpha and the Omega. The beginning, the end. But not just that, the middle. And that's the important part. He is the middle. He is the key to everything. Okay? You've seen the food pyramid. Garfield's eating it all, baby. Eggs, he's eating that. Lasagna, he's eating a lot of that. We'll get to one of those classic goofs soon, I'm sure. But first, let's talk about where it all began. Okay? That's music. Wait a minute. But first, let's talk about where this all began. Okay? Genuinely, just a comic strip. And I think even in 1978, okay, Cam, my mod, was 22 at the time. This is a long time ago. 1978. We're introduced to John Arbuckle, a humble cartoonist, an owner of a cat, and Garfield. Now, John starts out by saying, "Hi there," but with a comma. You can see his hesitation, his unwillingness to continue, but he knows he must for the beauty of the world, to just keep expanding. "Hi there. I'm John Arbuckle, and I'm a cartoonist, and this is my cat, Garfield." "Hi there. I'm Garfield." And everybody clapped. I know you're clapping at home, but I thought I'd clap with you on that one. "Hi there. I'm Garfield. I'm a cat, and this is my cartoonist, John. Our only thought is to entertain you." But Garfield's only thought at the time, feed me. That, genuinely, that is one of, what an opener. It's rare that the Mona Lisa is somebody's first attempt at painting. It's rare that Beethoven's Fourth Symphony could have been his first. Do you understand what I'm saying? Coming out the gate swinging this hard, 1978, and he comes out the gate with one of the funniest things I've ever read in my life. It's so funny that I can't even process entirely, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try with you guys, okay? So first we see John, a self-insert character, if you will, of Jim Davis, trying to project his understanding of the world to us, right? And then we have Garfield, a big orange cat. Some would say fat. I'm not sure. That seems hurtful. I'll say, challenged by gravity. We'll say that. And you can see he doesn't view John as an owner, mildly obese. That is also good. He doesn't view John as his owner. He views him as an equal, as a partner, his cartoonist. He knows at the end of the day that Jim, is the one who can just lead us to glory. He's the one here to tell the story. But Garfield knows that he is the story. He's being drawn by Jim Davis, aka John Arbuckle. He's being drawn, given to us, and it's beautiful. And then just a banger of a joke out the gate, where John says, "Our only thought is to entertain you," but then we'll say it says it's Garfield saying, "Feed me." But I think that's Jim Davis's inner monologue. He's not thinking about trying to entertain. He's thinking about what comes next. His next meal. The great artists, they don't always get their first meal. Okay? Jim was lucky, and he knew it. He knew how hard it was to get in a position like his. And he wanted to push. And he wanted to get it. Get the bread, literally. He needed to eat. And that was his only thought at this point in that first strip. That's important. Let's move on. By going to the newest, let's see what we can spot that's different. "I missed my morning nap." Garfield looks at us dead on. He's completely taken aback, surprised, aghast. Other word that means shocked. Just another synonym, you know? It just, I can't even fathom the pain of missing your morning nap. Now he needs to sleep twice as hard. And then Jim Davis, the fucking madman, the genius, shows 2 Z marks. Now, I understand a lot of you may not get this one. This one is rather complex. You need previous knowledge of Jim Davis's works. I would actually recommend going to check out volume 7 of the Garfield novel. I would recommend you go check out volume 7. I think it's comics number 42 within, and you'll get the context of how important this Z is. I'm going to just gloss over that. I'll assume most of you will do your homework after. You'll understand how funny this is very soon. But to keep it condensed, keep it simple, the Z is to represent sleeping, right? So the fact that he's sleeping twice as hard, well, that's just genius. That's one of the funniest things I've ever read. He's sleeping twice as hard and he shows 2 Z's. How can you come up with that? It's hilarious. I can't think of anything better. Here, we need to, I need to loop this. Okay. And then the thing is now, this is the most recent strip. We don't know if he'll ever wake. He's sleeping twice as hard. What if that's too hard? And that's how Jim Davis, much like other great comic authors, manga authors, he leads you into his next strip geniusless. Sorry, I'm not as smart as Jim Davis. I can't come up with a word. He leads you to the next strip intelligently, pushing you into it. What happens next? Will Garfield wake up? Will he be hungry when he wakes up? Can he wake up? Who knows? It's powerful, you know? It's just powerful. Let's go back. I think we go through the original run here. I think we'll visit. But I thought it'd be interesting to show you the beginning and the end as we know it, although it is continuing, of course. Okay, next one. Happy birthday, Garfield. This is Garfield the cat. Oh, I think someone just knocked on my door. We're gonna ignore it. This is too important. I could be killed right now, but I'd rather die in peace here. Happy birthday, Garfield. Again, this is Garfield. I know it's new, so they'd make sure, Jim Davis makes sure to get across the fact that maybe his audience isn't as intelligent as him. So you'd want to make sure to give you the idea that this is Garfield, the orange tabby cat. And again, smart play. He can't be deep every time in every single panel, you know. And then John closes his eyes and he hands out a birthday gift. A rubber mousey. And then Garfield, he devours it. Get it? Okay. So I see most of you don't understand it. So the rubber mousey, it's similar to a normal mouse. And again, in the lore for cats do tend to eat mice and meese on a regular basis. But Garfield, he has no concept of what rubber is. He's a cat. Why would he understand that? That doesn't make any sense. So he sees the mouse and his primal instincts kick in and he devours it. But then we see on the other side, he is smarter than we believe. He's smarter than he can understand. He's smarter than you can comprehend. I did have to read that one 3 times to understand it, TBH. Where did you get lost? I'm curious. When I finally got it. Dude, it's a good one. It's just a good one. And think about it, this is his second one. Where did you get lost? I'm curious though. Was it the second panel? That I had to read it twice, but I'm a Garfield aficionado. You'll get to my level one day. Part where the mouse just disappeared. Where'd it go? It's true. You see, that's the issue with a lot of comic panels nowadays. They'll show you these speed lines or whatever, or they'll have a 4th panel, God forbid, where the cat would be grabbing it and shoving it in his mouth. But instead, Jim Davis knows that you're going to take the time to comprehend his strip and understand it. And that's why you can tell, if you look very closely, like you did, you can see that the mouse goes in Garfield's mouth, and then he says, could have used salt. And it's funny. And it's just funny. It's one of the funniest things I've ever read. It was well worth it indeed. I'm glad it was for you. Yeah, let's move on. Let's go to the next one. This is comic number 3. We're all keeping up. A mouse. Get it. Get it. And then Garfield looks up, looks back. Garfield, you didn't even try. You show me a good mouser, and I'll show you a cat with bad breath. So, this tells us a couple things. A, maybe John isn't the nice cartoonist we think he is. Let's actually look for the deeper meaning here. John, this is the second comic about mice. What is Jim Davis trying to project to us here? Is it maybe that he sees himself as Garfield and he sees the cartoonist John as the cartoon industry, the comic book industry himself weighing down on him? And think about it this way, right? What if the mouse doesn't represent a mouse, but it represents the audience, the viewer, the reader, you and me, regular Joe Schmo, people that can't draw, right? The cartoonist sees the mouse, the audience, running across, and he says, "A mouse! Get it, Garfield! You have to go for them." After the cartoonist's last panel, John Arbuckle gave us a fake mouse. Oh, here's one. That's for free. You gotta earn the rest. But then Garfield, with his wit, claps back. He comes at John and he says, "You show me," but he doesn't say it. Remember, this is all inner monologues. That's what's clever about it. "Show me a good mouser and I'll show you a cat with bad breath." Let's dive into that one. All right, this panel, again, all of this is hilarious, but the philosophies behind it. In this panel, he says, "Show me a good mouser and I'll show you a cat with bad breath." That's not talking about, of course, hunting a mouse. Not simply. It is, but it isn't, right? Let's go behind it. There's something behind this. What it's saying to the audience, what it's saying even to the cartoonist industry itself, is someone constantly chasing for a new audience, chasing for people that aren't even really there for them. Well, they're shills. They're the people that you can't trust people like that. Their lives are worse because of it. Their existence, they're unclean, but mentally unclean. Maybe they've showered, maybe not. Cartoonists have a hard life. But they're still being weighed down and pressured to hunt that mouse, hunt the audience. But does Garfield feel pressured? No. Jim Davis knows what he's good at, and he has faith in himself. Not only is this hilarious, it's genius. Next slide. Next panel. Excuse me. Here. This one's going to need some physical action. "I'm putting you on a diet, Garfield. Here's your dinner." What? And then Garfield, look at the emotion in that second panel. Before we even finish, let's look at the emotion in the second panel. When you see that face, I want to turn. Ugh! Is there something behind me? Did he put it in real life? I wouldn't put it past Jim Davis. He is a genius. Now Garfield points. John looks back. What? Fear. But then he turns around and he goes, "Wait a minute. Cats have no concept of breaking and entering." But it's far too late. Because Garfield's already eaten his steak. Now, let's go back. Let's think about what happened in the third panel here. Garfield looks completely elated to be eating just an entire ribeye. As most cats would be, I think. That's not an insane thing. But let's look for the deeper meaning. So let's go back here. Let's talk about this third comic strip again. So this was about chasing the lunch, right? You gotta get it. You gotta go get the audience. Meanwhile, Jim Davis didn't take the easy route, per se. He took the best route, the route closest to him. The cartoonist was like, or the cartoonist industry said, here's your meager payment. Here's your meager audience. This is what we're going to let you have. But Garfield, the wise man, Jim Davis, the wise man himself, took it for himself. He grabbed what everybody else in his industry was scared to have. A following. Power. Even in the fourth strip, we knew that Garfield would be big. Bigger than anything we've ever seen. I mean, look at him. He is mildly obese. Garfield's girth is not just the fact that he is a big fat cat. It's his popularity. It's the success. And I think it's genius. Here's a simple one. This wasn't Garfield having goofs. This wasn't Garfield even being funny. It is funny, of course, as every strip from Jim Davis's hands would be. Again, I've read all of these. I mean, I don't know, how often does a preacher read the Bible? But I've read this panel many a time. And I'll say, it's genius. Because happiness, according to America, according to the human condition, really is just a warm television set, if you think about it. What is your version of happiness? This is mine. Looking at a screen. This is my entertainment. This is how I enjoy life. This is how I go by each day, hoping I can just make it to the point where sit back and enjoy it. That's what Jim Davis is telling us here. Is that after getting his meal, after getting everything he's deserved from the comic book industry, once he gets away from it, he can get home, happiness really is just getting to relax, enjoying himself. And I don't think there's anybody you can enjoy more than Jim Davis. The man's a genius. You know what'd be funny? Hold on, we're going to do a timeout here. Timeout. I'm going to see, is there a Garfield category I can go into? I'm going to look up Garfield. Hold on. There's literally a Garfield category. Wait, that's so funny. Hold on. No. I have to be the only person in the Garfield category. There's no way. That's so fucking funny. Yo, there's actually a Garfield category. Look, I'm not crazy. Hold on. You're the face of Garfield? Am I the top Garfield streamer? There's no way. No, I'm not even good enough for that. I'm not on there yet. It'll refresh at some point, right? God, that's fucking funny. All right, well, now we have a... Okay, so my goal in life is to get the Garfield category to the top page of Twitch someday. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Okay, back in, tag in, time in. But yeah, that's the... Sorry, we finished this one. We did finish it. So let's move on. I believe the 6th strip. Oh, we're making progress. So, here we see Garfield. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. I just wanted to give off the energy that the comic strip is giving to me, personally. I wanted to give that to you. So, we see Garfield slap the cat burger and pounce on it, chase after it. But John, he doesn't look amused. He looks angry. He looks hateful, hurtful. Which is when we see, don't be cruel, Garfield. Put the cat burger out of its misery and eat it. What could this possibly mean? Is this the resentment that the comic book industry has for Garfield? Is this the resentment that the comic book industry has for Jim Davis? His success, his enjoyment of life? Because it could be as simple as you get the burger, eat it. That's how simple a comic strip has to be. You don't have to have these deeper meanings, these meta-analysis of the job you work, of the life you live. You don't have to put this in a comic strip. Of course not. You can just put it in the newspaper and move on. But that's what Jim Davis does differently. Because he does put in these analysis. He does put in this meta-commentary of the life he lives for us, the audience, the viewer, to give us a glimpse of the horrible life he had to go through, the turmoil, the pain, the struggle, until he finally makes it with Garfield. Which is why when he finally gets to play with the cat burger, and before he's even done, the comic book industry, they come a knocking. Hey, go play with your food. Eat it. Got a strip due next week. Now, this is actually the beginning of what's known in the community as the first cat burger arc. Well, it's known for being divisive. Not too many people understand it fully. I have about 4 years as an actual Garfield analysis. I worked as an amateur for about 10. But yeah, so I'm about 15 years of experience in for reading Garfield, so it's a lot easier for me again. Here, we'll move on to the next strip. We should probably get a better pace going here. Cats. We cats are intelligent, soft, cute. Now understand, although again, as a professional, I can discern when he's just being funny, right? Jim Davis isn't specifically talking about himself here. He's actually talking about a cat. Honestly, he's talking about a cat, but he is talking about cartoonists in the cartoon industry, right? Now he's saying that they can be fun-loving people, but not all of this is true. Not all cats are intelligent. Not all of them are soft and cute. Not all cartoonists are that way. But they are all masters of the house. This ending bit here, this is what's important. Here, let's go through it, just in case some of you missed the key details here. So Garfield wakes up and he says, cats. We cats. He's speaking about him and other cats. Like, his name isn't Cats. His name is Garfield. We cats are intelligent, soft, cute, furry, cuddly, playful. Now, he doesn't mean furry as in the disease. He means just like, he is a cat, he's an animal, so he is a furry creature. We're good? We're on. Demore. I'm actually going to be 100% like breaking character here. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Fuck, I'm going to look it up. I'm learning. I'm actually learning. Not even a meme. Demore. Let's see. Reserved, modest, and shy. Typically used of a woman. Did Jim Davis come out as trans? Oh my god. Oh my god. That... Is Garfield that progressive? That he's showing undertones of not being comfortable in his own body like that, but still not fat shaming, but pushing this narrative to be body positive, but not enjoying his body. That dichotomy of both of them, that's genius. That's genuinely, that is just, even I, a 15-year Garfield veteran, I've missed that for years. Makes you think, you know, you can read something every day. Just might not understand it. You might not get it. Some people, it really is just words on a page. It's when you think about it that it really gets funny. It really gets entertaining. That's just another genius part of this comic. Let's see here. Okay, so here's the scene. Garfield is sitting on a big bookshelf. We assume close to the ceiling. It hasn't been revealed quite yet in the first panel. We'll get there. We'll see. So Garfield says, we cats like to sit in high places. It reinforces our superiority. When Garfield looks down, help! How How does he do it? How does he do it? We don't know how Jim Davis does it, but he does it. He can always mix the most pure forms of humor with the deepest thoughts, the deepest concepts. In case you missed it here, hold on, I really have to fart. Like, I don't feel good. I hurt immensely. Once we're done with the Garfield segment, we're done. But I am going to go to 10, I think. We'll see. So, Garfield looks back up at us and he says, help. Now, what he's talking about is the ancient idea, right, of suffering from success. Honestly, in most worlds, the most successful, it's the idea that money doesn't buy you happiness, right? This was the moment in his career where Jim Davis, he really had made it. He was making money. He had audience, billions of people were reading his were a billion people alive yet? Millions of people were reading his comic strip daily, rereading it every day to get every inch of genius out of it, seeing if they could just try and get one little bit, even one little hundredth of the intellect Jim Davis possesses, to try and see if that could rub off on them. It rarely works, you know. It's in the same way. Just because you can quote an Einstein, just because you can have an Einstein quote ready to go, that doesn't mean you're that smart. It's the same idea. Just because I can quote Garfield from front to back, that doesn't mean I am as smart as Jim Davis. I'm not even close. All right. I don't think anybody is, and that's just not fair. That's not a fair comparison. Don't put yourself on his pedestal, right? You aren't close, but that's not your fault. Nobody else is perfect. Anyways, he's saying now that he's hit this point, he's seen the ceiling of the industry he's within, so there's nowhere to go up anymore. But when he looks down to the floor that he would like to visit, his family, normal people, he realizes he's so far above them that even simple communication is hard. I believe it's a Rick and Morty quote that would exemplify what I'm saying best, which is I don't know, something about an incest baby. That show's weird. But I don't understand it. You need a really high IQ to understand that show. I think we all know that, right? The fuck am I talking about? Okay, let's move on. But yeah, this one's about it would normally be considered a superiority complex, but it's not really a complex because it's true. So, you know, it's a different way to look at it. It's just food for thought. Well, this one's just gray. Why has that happened? Have I been found out? Is the FBI coming? They know I'm reading Garfield illegally. Oh, wait, here we go. Jim Davis was killing it that day? I mean, genuinely. That would be think about it. Like, eight-ish strips in, and he releases a gray panel as the strip for the day? What does that tell you? I think you skipped one. Let's find out. I actually don't think I did. Yeah. We're good. Thank you for checking up on me, though. See, I'm not Jim Davis. I'm not perfect. Could have missed one. So here we see the biggest piece of meat Garfield's ever seen in his life. Except him, God forbid. And he reaches out to it. And when he goes to grab it, he's just goofed up. Okay, unironically, that's the last panel's like legit, just a really funny drawing. It's kind of good. It doesn't zoom in well. I'm losing my fucking mind. The last panel looks so stupid. Okay. So, let's see. Does anybody in here think they can take a guess on what it is? I'll give you a minute or two. Read it, reread it a couple times. I'll let someone try. I learned this very early on. This was very early in my studies, so I got this one pretty much on lock. Does anybody else want to give it a try? See what they can come up with. This is an open question. If nobody's brave, nobody wants to raise their hand, it's okay. I can start explaining. We can start at the beginning. That's okay. Here, I'll tell. We'll talk about it. So, in the first panel, we see Garfield excitedly looking at the piece of meat, licking his lips, typical cat behavior, typical man behavior. That's the interesting part. It's not just cat behavior. We see him already starting to blur the lines between cat, animal, and a human, man. I think that's pretty smart. I think that's pretty incredible. And we're already seeing character development like that this early on. And then he reaches out to get the schmeat. But then when he is at his closest, it's ripped away from him. He can't get it. And he's stuck. He's stuck in a rut. So this is actually probably why they have the gray panel ready to go. Because it is pretty close to what Jim Davis was likely feeling at the time. A lot of people theorize. He was stuck in a rut. As even someone as smart as him, you can get writer's block. You don't know where to go. When you're on the cusp of global dominance and that much of an audience. Again, think of food. Here, we'll just be general, right? This doesn't always apply, but think of food as the audience is the viewer, typically. And it works out. That's usually how it is. That is the biggest audience he's ever seen in his life, and he's so close. But then when he goes for it, it gets ripped away. His first misstep. And that's the story of how. He reached for it as hard as he could, as far as he could, and he realized maybe global dominance isn't what I need to be doing. Is Garfield ready for that? And I think he found out here, obviously not. Now, for the next one, I'm actually going to go into more the humorous aspect of it. We're going to just talk about that specifically. Because this doesn't have too much meaning. I think you can understand it. Right? This is actually one of those times where the food doesn't necessarily mean the audience, right? So, here we have John, the cartoonist John Arbuckle. Garfield's quote-unquote owner, although there's still debates about if he really does own Garfield. But that's a 20-year-on thing. That started long before me. I don't have much I could say on that. That hasn't already been said 100 times, right? So here we see Garfield. John is holding out an object of some sort. It's not entirely clear what it is quite yet. Deliberately hidden a bit from the reader, from the viewer. And then he says, "Here, Garfield, beg, get it." And then Garfield stabs the shit out of him, just rolls him, just gets him instantly, just ruined. And he drops the schmeat directly towards him, and he snatches it. And again, Jim Davis knows you're smart. If you're reading Garfield, you're probably pretty intelligent. You can infer that it's not like, oh, where'd the sausage come from? How did that even get there? He grabbed it in between the two panels. Here, if I actually zoom in, no, this is a fault with the site. We can't do that. If you zoom in very close, occasionally, as markers for people that couldn't quite get it, he would leave in micro panels. This is not necessarily the most uncommon thing. It's very uncommon nowadays due to TikTok, not explaining how, simply because we just don't have the time. But the micro panels were there just in case you were confused. You could look closely and just get those in between frames. Similar to an animation. They were a little more rough, but they were there just in case you needed that extra bit of information, right? Okay. And then he says, groveling is not one of my strong suits. And that's hilarious. That's funny. Because it's because John said, "Here, Garfield, beg," as in to make you grovel. And then Garfield not only says no, but he doesn't even have to say no. He just stabs John and then takes the sausage and eats it. And then he says, "I don't grovel." Oh, that's just another good one. That's just a great one. That's a really good one. I think we'll do two more. Do two more. So Jim Davis, he's what you would know as a bit of a coffee cow, right? Wait a minute. Did Jim Davis predict Atrioc here? That's kind of subtle, but I think it's there. First, we see Garfield eating a glizzy. And then we see Garfield drinking exuberant amounts of coffee. I think he predicted Atrioc. Big A. Wow. The foresight. That's genius. Okay, anyways, sorry, I don't mean to get ahead. Sometimes I do that, I get excited. It's a problem. I understand. So John starts out by taking coffee away from Garfield, and he says, "You can't drink coffee, Garfield. You'll stunt your... And then he looks to us, the audience, right? This is a bit of a fourth wall break. This happens occasionally in high-class, high-brow pieces of media. And he taps the table, thinking. Here, we'll simulate. We'll demonstrate. Thinking about it. Well, why not? One lump or two. And it's just that simple. Garfield is given his coffee. And look at how smug he is. Look at how smug he is. Okay, unironically though, I didn't remember. I've read this before, by the way. I do genuinely own this volume. I've owned it since I was a very little kid. That is the smuggest fucking cat I've ever seen in my life. That cat is about to fucking shotgun a coffee and have a heart attack. That's awesome. It's sick. Next panel. All I ever do is eat and sleep. Eat and sleep. Eat and sleep. There must be more to a cat's life than that. I hope not. So this is another one where we actually do get to see in the inner workings of Jim Davis. Jim Davis, through a lot of his strips, although he is a multi-trillionaire from his success of Garfield, the best-selling novel of all time, he lives a simple life, a much simpler one than you'd imagine. He truly does just want to eat and sleep and write out of his cool chair, shaped like Garfield. That's all he's ever wanted to do. And he's talking about, surely there's more to his own life than that. But if there is, why bother? Does it matter? And in the end, he made it funny. Look at it. A comic strip. It's genius. It's beautiful. I think we have time for one more, and I think this next one is pretty in-depth, so it's gonna be rough. Stick with us, guys. Yeah, this is the one. So this one actually prompted I remember a long-running discussion similar to the Rosetta Stone when that was discovered. It was about as long. So this one was actually lost to time from, it says July 1st, 1978, excuse me. That's when we think it was written. It actually came out in about 2003. I don't really remember the exact month or day. It was just around 2003. It was considered a little too mature for the current American audience, although we in general have kind of chilled out and relaxed on censorship laws and such, and we think mature audiences have grown to some degree, or children are more capable of taking it these days. So it was released then, right? But originally it was blacklisted from people being able to read it. So it starts out with, this is it, Garfield, John and his cat, Garfield, John the cartoonist. John starts by stating This is it, Garfield. The Late Late movie with Brigitte Bardot. Got our soda pop. Cut our popcorn. I don't have that. We're set. And then he knocks out. Funny. So funny. Or is it? See, this is one of the few comic strips where Jim Davis wasn't even trying to provide humor, actually. And this is part of the reason that it was kept away. The government feared it. The government was afraid this would incite some things, right? Similar to how we all feared that the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix would cause incels to think their opinions matter. And they clearly don't. The government feared, probably rightfully so, that this would start a revolution. So, to talk about it, in the late 70s, you had what was known as a television. This was before you would have something like this. Nowadays, right, this is my iPhone, yes? This is where I tend to consume media. But back in the day, iPhones actually didn't come around quite yet, right? They're seemingly a relatively new thing. Same with computers. So when somebody was consuming media, they would have to get it from these gigantic boxes called a cable television. I think I have that right. I don't know. It was a long time ago, so maybe not. A lot of the data on that is pretty up in the air. So anyways, it also turns out back in the day that you actually had to watch TV when it showed up. You couldn't just look something up. I know it's foreign, it's weird, but you had to wait for it to show up. And what's insane is that Jim Davis had the foresight, the thought, the elegance to draw something that could relate the world to cable television. So he's talking about no matter what, you can be as prepared for anything. You can be prepared. Who was president in the 70s? Hold on, 1978 president. Jimmy Carter. I don't know anything about Jimmy Carter. I was really hoping it'd be like Reagan. I don't know. Never mind. Okay. So, you can be as prepared as you want for life. You can have everything ready. You can have your soda. You can have your savings. You can have your popcorn. Okay? You can have your home. In the blink of an eye. It can all go away from you. Or, worse than that, you see them sleeping. You see them dead. You can be so prepared and none of it matters. Jim Davis was one of the first cartoonists to genuinely realize that nothing we do on this earth will stop the inevitable. Here, he depicts it as sleep, but obviously, he does mean the end. He means death. He means the death of us. Now, the fear from the government is that this would cause mass panic and truly put the fear of not just God, but the lack of one into everybody's mind and push everyone into anarchy and revolution. Why have a government? Why have savings? Why have a home? It's all going away. Jim Davis was pushing that message. He was ahead of his time. Now, Jim, obviously, was not trying to incite revolution. He was trying to incite knowledge and understanding, but perhaps he was a little ahead, right? Maybe he was a little too far thinking. Maybe not for his own good, but for everyone else's, right? I think that comic right there, I think that's gonna have to do it. How did we enjoy our Garfield time? Did everybody enjoy it? That was our Garfield time, sponsored by HelloFresh.